All right, we are live. What's going on, gang? It is 7:52 a.m. East Coast time. I'll be live later. I just want to do an update. So if you're watching this later in the day, there'll be some value and some nuggets in this, but be sure to check back in later in the day when I go live. So just updating, right? The MLB video is out, but NBA video is going to be out. Or is out yesterday as well. And I'm doing a live stream now just to hit on some things that I'm seeing early in the morning. But the video on later tonight, the live stream later tonight will be an hour, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. And then I'll be going live over on Sportscaster, a new site. It's linked down below in the description. And I would greatly appreciate it if you can go over there to Sportscaster and become a fan. It's pretty much subscribing. But yeah, I'll be there at 8 p.m. and it's just really a hangout. So I'll be just live while the game's on. I'll have a stream up on my other laptop. I'll have a scoreboard up on the stream itself, and we can just hang out. But early morning, just touching on some things. Is OG officially cleared to play, says Nick. Nick, you're up early too, especially if you're on the West Coast and you're up at 5 a.m. But is he officially cleared to play? Yeah, they said he was probable. So I think he has been cleared to play. I think he's fine. So I guess the main things that I just wanted to come on here and say was a few things after making my first video. Look, I haven't made any in-depth lineups yet outside of quickly tinkering. I was at Pittsburgh all day yesterday. I was at a baseball game. So the thing that I just wanted to come on and say is I'll have in-depth lineups out later on and not giving them away. I mean, just like I'll have education on what you can do with your builds, but I kind of already know. And the thing that's going to be difficult, and the reason that why people are saying in the comments this seems so much harder than the first slate, is because it is. You don't have a $3,200 Danny Green anymore that you can decently rely on for 15 plus fantasy points. Can't hear you. You can't hear me, Marvin? Nick, can you hear me? This would be an issue if nobody can hear me right now. Let's quickly make sure somebody can hear me. If somebody in the comments can let me know that you can hear me, that'd be great. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to. You should be able to hear this. I really hope so, at least. So yeah, I'll just keep going until somebody else who's in here. Wow, we got 10 people watching at 7:54 in the morning. Y'all are crazy. Let me know, somebody who's watching this, can you hear me? Marvin Scott says he can't hear me. Can anybody hear me? The words coming out of my mouth. Can you hear? Anybody? We can easily hear you, says Gerald. Yes, no problem. Perfectly. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Marvin Scott, I'm not sure why. Fading Steps, says Donnie. So here's the thing. Building lineups is much more difficult now because can hear you, no issue. Can hear, just low volume, a little low. I can hear you. Interesting, low volume. I'm trying to talk it. I'm talking at a decently loud clip right now, and I guess I can move this a little bit closer. So here's the thing in terms of the volume. I've had some complaints in the comments. I know that it's like echoey or pitchy because I'm talking in a room. I've had this mic right here, a Rode Pro, which is like a $200 mic. Oh wow, I have it on by accident. And it's a really good mic. It's more so for, I guess, on like vlog stuff. It's really good because it can do multi-dimensional stuff. But it'll work for podcasting and videos. I have an accessory coming because you can't just plug it into these new MacBooks. They have like little weird USBs, the 3.5 millimeter. I have an accessory coming sometime this week, and we'll have better audio. But what's going on, everybody? Can't believe there's 12 people in here this early. I could hear you loud and clear. Perfect. Okay, I can hear. What's up? What's up, Sterling? No issues. Perfect sound. Perfect. Okay, cool. What's going on, everybody? Yeah, so the things are, you don't have the same exact setup as last time. Look, even Sean Livingston is more expensive. Now he's not insanely expensive, but he's the same price that Danny Green was to start this last showdown slate, the Millionaire Maker, right? He's $3,200. That's where Danny Green was at, I believe. Sean Livingston was $900 cheaper. So you had a viable play down there for 15 plus minutes. You had a very viable play in Danny Green that you could chart in for 20 plus minutes. He ends up getting 30. Well, now he's priced up to the 5K range. So I understand. Why do you not list Bogut, says Jared Fabiano. It's because I don't think he's going to see any minutes. The only players I have listed here are guys that I'm giving minutes to. I have 0 minutes listed for Andrew Bogut. So that's the main thing, is that the value on this slate is terrible. So how do you combat a terrible value slate, especially on a showdown slate? There's two ways you do that, and they might seem obvious. The first way is you pick a lower priced captain. And when I'm saying lower priced captain, I mean low priced captain. I don't mean Marc Gasol at $7,000. I think he's a viable captain. I think Kyle Lowry is a viable captain at their price points. But you're still going to have to dig deep and probably take a flyer on, at the very least, a Sean Livingston, or at the very most a Sean Livingston, at the very least an OG Anunoby, a Quinn Cook, somebody who's just disgusting to actually look at when you think about it in your lineup. I'm talking about going down to the range of the Andre Iguodala's at 4,600 as your captain, which is extremely scary, right? The minutes are there, but the upside, especially when Kawhi was his second primary defender guarding Iggy on 21 possessions last game, that's absolutely dreadful. So that's one way to approach it. I think that if you get Marc Gasol, that might be the most expensive that you can go and feel comfortable if you want to build that way and try and avoid as much dumpster diving. at the bottom. The other way is you go and you get Marc Gasol as your captain. You go and you get Steph or Kawhi as your captain if you feel good about it, and then you punt with OG Anunoby, who potentially can go out there and play 4 minutes today. I have OG Anunoby at 10 minutes right now, and that's with the idea that he is healthy and he's going to play and he's going to take 5 of Patrick McCaw's minutes from the last game. He's a really good defender. They already have a solid defense out there, but there's no reason you can't continue to put guys out there that can limit Clay, especially on these secondary units. Fred VanVleet was on Steph for 33 possessions. I don't think that changes too much. But when Danny Green's off the court, you can very well see OG Anunoby come in, take over all of Norman Powell's minutes, who he was seeing only 5 minutes in the last game. I still have Powell at 5, but you could very easily just give those all to Anunoby depending on his health. And that's really during the regular season what you were seeing, more Anunoby than Powell. So I think punting at $1,400 is fine. And here's the thing. Patrick McCaw, I wouldn't punt with at $1,200. I don't think he sees really anything down there. So Dave says, what's going on, Dave Elite? Isn't Iggy technically value with how many minutes he gets? Yeah, I think Iggy is value. I think Iggy is the best value on the slate. But if I'm talking like really cheap value to fill out your lineups, like there's no way you're fitting Kawhi and Steph in a captain spot on this slate unless you were rostering OG Anunoby and or like Quinn Cook, and that's just absolutely disgusting. So I think realistically, the captain viable spots for this slate are below the 9K range and really below the 8K range. Clay is the only guy in the 8K range, and I'm really not going to get to much Clay in this series. Danny Green guarded Clay exceptionally well. And then you had a decent amount of Kawhi on Clay, not a ton, but a decent amount of Kawhi. You had Danny Green there, and now if OG Anunoby comes back, that's even worse. He's a terrible offensive player, a .65 fantasy point per minute guy, and now he's going to come in OG Anunoby and have a terrible offensive matchup for him. So this is why when you punt him, even if he plays 15 minutes, OG Anunoby can realistically go out there and score 6 fantasy points. But on the defensive end, he's a great young defender. I don't want Klay Thompson in my captain spot. He can go out there and have his 40-point game. I don't think it's happening tonight. So yeah, I realistically am looking, and again, I haven't built too many lineups out, but it seems to be like Kyle Lowry and Marc Gasol are where I will land on with a lot of my lineups. And then if I'm trying to go anywhere else, it's probably going to be Fred VanVleet or Andre Iguodala as another option as my captain tier. And those guys, that's terrible because what is their upside? Their upside is 30 fantasy points, and if your captain's only scoring you 45, there's a great chance that that's not enough most nights. Something would have to go weird and wacky. The Kawhi and Steph builds as your captain is extremely scary because you're spending $17,000 to put them in your captain spot, and I haven't built this out yet, so let's do this. This is the MLB. I've yet to actually build this out, and I'm very curious now. I was wondering why there was $60 less in my bankroll from this morning, and then I remembered I already reserved an MLB contest. But let's do this real quick. I haven't reserved any of these contests. I don't think so. Yeah, no. I just want to say, yeah, 17,000 is what the price point is if you try and put one of these guys in your captain spot. Like, if you put Kawhi in your captain spot and you still want to play Steph, it's probably not happening. Or at least it's not happening in a viable way. Let me look at some of these comments. Low to no minutes. Yeah, low to no minutes. Captain Gasol. I think Captain Gasol is fine. Why did you do that in that big contest on DraftKings last game? How did you do? I don't know why the hell I can't read this early. I did really well. I had Siakam. I locked him as my captain in all 3 of my lineups that I played. I didn't win anything insane. I didn't have the Sean Livingston's nuts combo. I had really more so Looney and a mixture of Looney and Bell instead of Livingston, which hurt. Livingston getting more points than both of them, I believe. But I did fine. I mean, I had one ticket or all 3 tickets. So, I mean, my total buy-ins for that were like $5 instead of $75, like they should have been. And I ended up coming out with just under 4 figures or something. So it worked out really well. Siakam captain was the nuts. And then having Gasol in a lineup definitely helps. Sal, do you ever use FanDuel? Ryan Migler says, definitely not for showdown slates. That format is absolutely brutal. It's disgusting. I really don't like DraftKings showdown slates, but I think it's at least a little bit more possible to win. FanDuel is just an absolute coin flip, and worse than that, really. It's just a lottery system when you have to pick the right 3 spots. I play FanDuel on NFL. I try and get as much action down as I can. I don't play FanDuel anywhere else. I don't like an NBA that they don't have late scratch options, and MLB. I've just been sticking to DraftKings. If there's ever a time that I want to get to try and do a qualifier or more qualifiers, and FanDuel has some, I'll do that for MLB. So what else we got? Just tried Iggy as captain and fit Steph and Kawhi. Yeah, it's possible. Draymond is a lock, at least at utility. Your thoughts? I don't think Draymond's a lock at utility. I think he's more in play than I thought he was last game. I didn't want any Draymond last game because I thought he was overpriced when it was all said and done, compared to a guy like Siakam, who I loved. And now, with Siakam coming up in price and obviously shooting 84% or 82% in that first game, I think it's more viable to pivot to Draymond because of Siakam ownership. And realistically, they're going to be a very similar type of player in this series when it's all said and done. The problem with Draymond Green is that his primary defender was Kawhi Leonard, if in my opinion the best defender in the league, and if not the best defender in the league, the best two-way player in the league. So that scares the crap out of me. I have Draymond being defended by Kawhi 30 possessions and Siakam 25. So 55 possessions in this game, Draymond was being guarded by one Kawhi and two Siakam. That's terrifying. So when I want to say that I think Draymond plays well, it's scary. And look, he's not a scorer in his own right, but he's not going to be a guy who goes out there and lights it up. I mean, in the postseason, he's probably averaging somewhere around 16 real points a game. But in this series, I think this 10 points that you're seeing out of Draymond from game one right here, I think this is a realistic expectation to say that Draymond probably averages in this series if Kawhi is going to be his primary defender and then Siakam right behind that. And if KD comes back down the road, but that's something else, you're going to see most likely out of Draymond Green less than 15 real points a game. And then he has to rely on his triple-double upsides. And here's the thing. Most players aren't going to get triple-doubles as often as Draymond Green, but he's goddamn Draymond Green, and this man has had 3 triple-doubles in a row. It's ridiculous. What has he had, 5 during the postseason or 7 during the postseason? He's just an absolute monster out there. So you're really relying on Draymond Green getting triple-doubles, and if he's forced not to shoot, well, that actually increases his triple-double upside. So Draymond Green right now, I don't think he's a lock for your utility spot because of his price, right? If you're getting to Draymond Green in your utility spot, you're most likely giving up Kawhi or Steph. And I don't want to do that. I want Kawhi and Steph any way I can. So that's probably why I don't get to as much Draymond Green, although I think he's fine. The matchup against Kawhi is absolutely scary, but if you're telling me that as long as he gets to 10 points, he's most likely now forcing more assists, and he's going to get his rebounds. His 10 rebounds are probably almost a lock at this point with no KD out there and a limited boogie. So yeah, I think triple-double Draymond is, as most players, it's like what? Most players who get triple-doubles often, it's still like a 1 in 10 chance that he's going to get a triple-double that day, especially in this matchup. He can make that much worse, but that's just the way that Draymond Green plays. So I don't think Draymond's a lock in that utility spot at all. I most likely don't get to much of him because of the price point. I really like Green and Gasol as captains this game. Yeah, I think Gasol is definitely a viable captain this game, I think, and somebody mentioned in the comments, I didn't take into account the fact that he fouled out with like a minute left, and then there was some foul trouble where he came out for like a minute as well. So I actually bumped him up to 32 minutes instead of 30, Gasol, and I think he could see even more. And I just took those minutes. You can take one off of Siakam, give Siakam 39 if you really want, but I took both of those minutes off of Serge Ibaka. I have Serge Ibaka at 16 minutes today. Danny Green in the captain spot, I'm not sure I get there. Danny Green is going to play decent minutes in this game, more so because of his defense. His offense was clicking a decent amount, only took 7 shots. But here's the thing with Danny Green: him hitting 4 out of 7 shots is almost as if it's almost like a ceiling for Danny Green in terms of his game, like 7 shot attempts, because Siakam took a good amount of shots, but Kawhi didn't take a ton of shots. Kyle Lowry was in foul trouble for a good amount, didn't take a ton of shots. There's not going to be much left over for Danny Green. 7 shots is really the most that he's going to be taking. So in terms of him being a good captain, I don't really see it. He's not picking up many other peripherals. He's going to get you, if you feel really good about Danny Green, he's probably going to get you at most in a very good game where he makes 6 out of 7 shots, like 22 to 24 fantasy points. It's really tough for Danny Green in this offense, the way that they utilize just the overall usage. I mean, Kawhi Leonard's playing point guard, and when Kawhi Leonard's not playing point guard, Kyle Lowry's playing point guard, and when neither of them has the ball in their hands, Pascal Siakam does, or they're dishing it out to Marc Gasol at the point for a 3. Danny Green rarely gets it. When Danny Green gets it is when they're in transition and he gets a spot up 3. And you only have limited chances in that range. So the idea of putting Danny Green in the captain spot, I don't like it. I don't like it at $5,000. I'd rather go Iggy, who is also a guy who has a terrible matchup, getting a lot of Kawhi Leonard guarding him, but probably plays the same amount of minutes. I just think Iggy has more upside because he can score 15 points in this game, but he could also pick up your rebounds and assists, which really is something Danny Green doesn't do all that well. So Danny Green in the captain spot I don't really like. And I also am not too fond of Danny Green in the utility spot. If there's a way for me to get up to Fred VanVleet and still leave money on the table, I think I do it because, again, Danny Green shot 4 of 7 in the last game. That can realistically be as good as it gets for Danny Green. Like, yeah, obviously he can make 5 out of 8 shots, 5 out of 7 shots as well. But, again, he's not going to have that many opportunities. He's not going to shoot 14 times in a game, Danny Green. It's just not going to happen. What do we got? I like the questions. Keep them coming. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for Siakam as captain. Won $100. Scored 280. Nice job. Yeah, so I said Siakam is my captain. Like, literally 30 people in here at 8 in the morning. We should break the 250 record tonight that we just set last time. Hopefully we get to 350 or something. And also, if you're watching this, head over to Sportscaster. If there's not a link in the description, it's on Twitter somewhere. If you can become a fan or a subscriber, that helps me out a ton over there. I'm trying to do as best work as I can for those people and just continue the partnership. I'm excited about that. But my sister just said, caught myself a big catfish. If you met my sister, she would be the last person to say something like that. That's crazy. What's the lowest price player you'd put in the captain spot? But actually, what I was saying was I actually said that Siakam is my captain as right before I signed off. But I guess my OBS like streaming broadcast is on like a 6 or 7 second delay. So I probably literally said and my captain, and it ended. So that was brutal. But some people DM me, like I said, I would tell them what's the lowest price player you'd put in the captain spot. Says Paul. What's going on, Paul? I'm not positive yet. I'm really not. I haven't built out enough lineups. I really haven't built at all. That's what I'm going to do later today. Like yesterday, I was all day in Pittsburgh, and I didn't want to spend my day building out lineups. I wanted to see more so the OG Anunoby news. So lowest price captain I put in the captain's, or lowest price guy I put in the captain spot. As of right now, it's probably Andre Iguodala. You might be able to talk me into Serge Ibaka, but when it's all said and done, I don't have tickets to this. If I'm putting $25 of my own money in, I'm definitely most likely not putting 16-minute or projected 16-minute upside of 20-minute a guy like Serge Ibaka in my captain spot. It's probably Iguodala, and then it would be Van Vliet for me most likely. I don't think I get to Kevon Looney at that price point. No way. I think Kevon Looney is a contrarian play that's actually optimal in the utility spot. I think 6,200 is grossly overpriced. But if he's going to continue to get 28, 29 minutes, the matchup is brutal, but just that amount of minutes is not being out there for really many guys in this range. It's pretty much Kevon Looney, Fred Van Vliet, Danny Green, and Andre Iguodala, who are seeing anywhere near those types of minutes at all below 7K. So I think he's contrarian in terms of utility. I don't think he's not totally unoptimal, but when you take into account the matchup, it's tough for me. Lower price guys that I put in my captain spot, and I imagine we're saying below 7K, below this Marc Gasol range, it would be Andre Iguodala 1, and then probably Fred Van Vliet 2. That's where I lean in terms of those guys. Those are the only guys I have interest in putting in my captain spot. What's up, Sal? Good morning. Good morning, Gledwin Thomas. What's going on? Hey, Josh. Hey, Ali. Clay and captain, says Ali. I don't want any Clay and captain personally. Danny Green was game 1 MVP. Hashtag fantasy, says Guy. Yeah, he was very good. He was needed. I think they will lock down Siakam. They could lock down Siakam. I think that Draymond's going to put a lot more effort in on defense. I mean, not to say that he wasn't, but he seems a lot more focused. The reason I don't want Siakam is not that I think he's all of a sudden a bad player. I think Siakam's a great player, but now he's priced up to 9,800, which is, it's hashtag analysis. It's very close to 10,000, and a player at that price point, you need him to go out there and get you around 40, 45 fantasy points. If you're going to pay 9,800 for him, you need that. And I don't think Siakam averages in this series around 45 fantasy points, or even what he did in game 1 again. And he shot 82%, and Kawhi didn't shoot a lot, and Kyle Lowry didn't shoot a lot. So I'm not getting off of Siakam because I think they're going to lock him down. I'm getting off of Siakam because I don't think he's going to score or shoot 82% from the field, and I don't think he's going to have just a combination of all the things that he had in that game going for him. Clay said on press conference with something Crick that they will attack Gasol in defense. I think he will be in foul trouble. So in terms of, I imagine, I don't really take much weight into any of that. If it's in terms of injury news, I'll take weight into it. Attacking Gasol on defense, I don't know. I guess I could see the clip. Maybe there's something to it, but I don't know if they would say their strategy going into it. Gasol is one of the best defenders in terms of not getting himself into foul trouble. He's very similar to Al Horford. So I don't get too much into that. But they won't say how. Yeah, exactly. Can't see him putting that same performance, says about Danny Green. I can see him putting the same performance, but what was his performance? Like 18 fantasy points? That's really not going to get you there as a captain. I'm taking Green over Leonard. Think this is a game Green just has to step up. So I imagine that means Draymond Green. I think that's fine. I think that this is also a game that Kawhi has to step up. Kawhi played terrible in the first game, and he still needed. That's just how good his terrible is. Kevon is overpriced. He is overpriced. Favorite play for tonight, says Anthony. Thank you, Ali, for subscribing. I appreciate that. Favorite play for tonight? I don't know yet, Anthony. I haven't built out lineups. I know that I'm going to probably try and get Kawhi and Steph in all of my lineups, and I'm not playing multiple lineups. I don't have any tickets to this. If anything, I'll play one lineup, and I most likely have Kawhi and Steph in there somehow. Favorite play? I'm not sure. I think Kyle Lowry and Marc Gasol in the mid-range are good. I like Fred Van Vliet. I like Andre Iguodala. I think punting with OG Anunoby could be interesting, but really no upside there. Sharon Livingston at 3,200 has to be in play because there's just nobody else down there. Kawhi seemed hurt. Do you think they will go elsewhere again for points? No. I don't think Kawhi's hurt. I think Kawhi Leonard is absolutely fine. I think that just the amount of points, the pure points that Pascal Siakam was scoring is the reason that Kawhi Leonard's ceiling was down and he shot a little bit worse than he has been. No problem. His left leg, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I can look into it a little bit more. I just don't think he's hurt, and the type of player that he is, I don't think it's going to really affect any part of his game. I mean, he was sprinting up and down the court, so I didn't see any type of laboring or any type of news on him laboring, so I'm just going to go with that. Can fit in Leonard and Steph well with Gasol at captain? Yeah, I think you can, and I think that that's going to be one of the biggest chalky builds, and that's not saying it's a bad thing, but differentiating then becomes even more important, because if you're going to do this, And I think Marcus All in the captain is fine, but I think it's also very risky, I would say, because I think game one is something that is probably not going to be repeated, at least back to back. I think people are going to overreact thinking that Gasol is going to do this, when realistically, somewhere in between 17 and 37 is an average. So if he gets 24 in the captain spot, is that enough? I don't think so. But again, he does have the upside. But doing something like this leaves you 5-3-6. Yeah, so I mean, punting with an OG and an OB becomes interesting because then you get 7-3 to spend on the rest of your lineup, and you can kind of do a lot of things here. I mean, you can go all the way down and you can get yourself Andre Iguodala, and now you have 10-1, and you have a lineup that's very viable. You can put Clay in there to leave money on the table. But I mean, let's look at this lineup. You have Marc Gasol in there, who he's in your captain spot. Yeah, he scored 37 points last game, but I have Marc Gasol projected for around 29 fantasy points today. That would be pretty good. But what if he scores 24? And he has 36 in the captain spot? It's not that great. And I think that's more so where they might go tonight, especially when Marc Gasol was having success shooting. He shot 60%. Marc Gasol is not going to shoot 60% again. Let's be clear here. Now, he shot 60% in the game before, but he shot 2 times. When you have a 10-game sample or a 10-shot sample, it's going to be tough for Marc Gasol to shoot 60%. He's going to shoot closer to somewhere in the upper 40 range more times than not, which puts his fantasy points from 37 last game closer to around 30 if he shoots only 4 for 10 last game. So that's just obviously picking it apart. You can pick a lot of things apart, but I think Gasol in captain is going to be a very chalk build because fitting Kawhi and Steph in captain is one of them in captain and trying to play the other one is almost impossible. You have to spend $5,000 per player remaining, and then it forces you to play Sean Livingston and another dusty old player down there. With Iggy coming back from being questionable, would it affect his total playing time? I don't think so. He was, right after the game, said he felt fine. Kerr said he was optimistic. They got the x-ray done or whatever, and it was absolutely fine, and he said he felt fine. He was running up and down. I saw one beat reporter say he was sprinting, and he's the primary defender of Kawhi Leonard was Iggy. He guarded Kawhi Leonard on 35% or 35 of the possessions in that last game. So I think that Iggy is going to be absolutely fine in this game. I have him, for 32 minutes? Yeah. Masters in terms of getting a 6 out of 6 in my upper dollar lineups. It's been brutal. This week was just disgusting. Phil Mickelson falling apart. Going with Tony Finau over Xander last second really hurt as well. So yeah, nice job though, Paul. I am rooting for you. Paul, are you live for anything big? How you doing? So I think that's what's it. I just wanted to jump on quick. 20 minutes is done. I'll be back at 5:30 p.m. The other thing that I will mention is that, I did give Marc Gasol more minutes, and I think this is an extremely difficult slate. Do not put a ton of money into it. It is difficult because there's a very good chance that tonight you need a Quinn Cook or Jonas Jerebko. Yes, one of those dusty guys at the bottom who are going to get 8 minutes. There's a decent chance you need one of them who scores 10 points tonight, and that's never good. Just the way that the pricing is all set up. Everything below 3K looks absolutely disgusting. Realistically, there's nothing below 4K outside of Sean Livingston. It's a slate that is really just a dart throw. You can build decent lineups with mid-price captains if it's Andre Iguodala or Fred VanVleet, and I think that might be the way that I start to go, or at least start to experiment while building my lineups, because I don't really want to touch Sean Livingston, who had a ceiling game in the playoffs. Yes, his best game yet. Had 16 fantasy points the last time out. I have him projected for just over 10, so I don't want to touch that at 3,200, but he might be the only guy below 4K who can score 10, so it's really bad. It's not great. That's what I'm doing right now. Bless says, dang, I missed the whole live. It's fine, Bless. Once I end this, or you really right now, you could start it all the way over. It's only 20 minutes. If you put it on speed up the pace of the volume or the speaking, it'll go a lot quicker. So I'll be back at 5:30 p.m. tonight Eastern time for an hour till 6:30, and then at 8 p.m. I'll be hanging out for the first half of the NBA Finals on Sportscaster. Let me do this actually. I'm gonna put this into my into the link below, and if you want to, you can go over to my Sportscaster. I made my first stream yesterday for the NBA Finals. I have 5 fans. If you want to, you can go over here and just become a fan. It's totally free. It's literally like subscribing on YouTube. That helps me out. I'll just post a link. That helps me out if you go to that link and just become a fan, and then I think it notifies you if I go live, or you get to choose. But I'll be going live on there for like game by game, play by play. So I'll be there just chilling, literally just hanging out for the first half today, and then I do some broadcasts. Like I'm going to do a baseball broadcast over there around 10 today. Live streaming it. It's just a platform. I have a partnership with them. It's part of the agreement, but also I'm extremely excited to be on this platform. You can see it says it somewhere above me, Sportscaster. It's a really cool site. I think it is the Twitch of sports is what they're trying to be, and I think that the technology they have, the real life time on their streaming it's honestly incredible. So yeah. Thank you, bro. Please never stop, says Sterling. Thank you. I appreciate it. I hope that I don't have to. When will you go live again, says Sterling? I'm going to go live at 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Eastern time to break down this slate right here again. And just really, it's a Q&A at that point. I'll have my lineups kind of all built out, and I'll know a little bit in depth on how constructions can look and should look, or maybe it's more optimal. And then I'll go live at 8 p.m. on that Sportscaster link that I put, and just really hanging out in the live stream. I'll have the scoreboard up. I'll have the live stream just chilling. Maybe have a little wine and some Pinot Grigio. Think if they try to stop Siakam, it just opens up for Gasol. I think so too, Josh Redfoot. I think that's a good point to say. In golf, cashing with 4 of 6 is possible for third week in a row. I saw that, Dave. I saw that 5 out of 6s were like below 20% in some of the upper dollar stuff and right around there. The problem for me is in my main line, I got a nice old 3 out of 6, I believe. Charles Howell falling apart. Charles Howell falling apart. Finau just being absolute dust. Finau, after a good performance, is almost a lock for being dust now at this point. And then somebody else. Thank you so much, Sal. Can't wait to see you again live. Thanks. Thank you, everybody. I'm shocked that at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, 40 people were in here. That's absolutely incredible. Let's try and break this goddamn record tonight. Head over to Sportscaster if you can. Become a fan or whatever they call them over there. And yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys. I'm going to head out, chill out for the day. I'll be live on Sportscaster at 10, breaking down the MLB slate. MLB video just uploaded. Just got to hit publish. Peace out, gang. Thank you so much.